February 1st, 1904, the auxiliary cruiser the USS Yankee was on patrol off Santo Domingo, observing the fighting between government and rebel troops loyal to Carlos F. Morales and Juan Isidro Jimenez. The American captain decided to put some men in a launch and send them offshore to make contact with the Dominicans. At least 100 armed rebels were using the old Fort Ozama as a base. The Americans received some enemy rifle fire while they were still in the water. When they landed, they managed to attack and rout the rebels away from them. Ramon Arturo Caceres Vasquez was the 31st president of the Dominican Republic. Caceres was ambushed November 19th, 1911 and was assassinated by rebels. Following his death was the Civil War of the Dominican Republic. By 1916, Juan Isidro Jimenez was president, but his supporters were fighting openly with those loyal to his rival, General Isidro Arias, former Minister of War. As the fighting got worse, the Americans sent Marines to occupy the nations. President Jimenez did not appreciate the gesture, resigning his post rather than taking orders from the occupiers. Isidro Arias was the former Secretary of War under the Dominican Republic. Jimenez fired Arias because of his plans to overthrow the government and overthrow himself. With the start of the Civil War, the U.S. were not able to obtain the debts that were owed from the Dominican Republic. The first landing took place on May 5th, 1916, when Marines landed from the USS Prairie at Santo Domingo. Their goal was to offer protection to the government and the U.S. consulate and to occupy the Fort San Geronimo. Hours later, more Marines landed into the Dominican Republic. The Marines began to follow and fight against Arias' rebels. The U.S. tried and managed to find a new president that will take over the Dominican Republic and will follow what they order. The Dominican Congress tried and elected Francisco Henriquez, but he refused to follow the American commands. The U.S. eventually took over the Dominican Republic and placed their government. The U.S. military occupied the Dominican Republic for 8 years. Throughout the 8 years, the Dominicans never stopped and liked the Americans. They would isolate soldiers and begin to ambush them. The Dominicans also organized themselves politically. They created the Union Nacional Dominicana. The purpose was to support other parts of Latin America for the Dominicans and convince the Americans to withdraw. With the occupation causing problems in both the Dominican Republic and the U.S., President Warren Harding decided to leave the Dominican Republic. The USA and the Dominican Republic agreed on a plan that will consist of duties that will be used to pay off the debts. Starting in 1922, the U.S. military began to leave the Dominican Republic. Elections were held in July of 1924. The new government took over the country. The last Marines left the Dominican Republic on September 18th, 1924.